Good day, everyone. I am Desiree and Cabangon, and along with my groupmates Gabriel, Boco, and Wilbert Caliao, will be discussing about fossil fuels. These are the contents of our discussion, including the types and application of fossil fuels and how it is formed. We will also be talking about why it is considered a contemporary issue and what needs to be done to eradicate or lessen its impact. So, what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuel is a term used to describe a group of energy sources that were created from ancient plants and organisms. It was formed during Carboniferous period approximately 360 to 286 million years ago, even before the age of dinosaurs. At that time, the land was covered with swamps filled with organisms and plants. As they died, they sank to the bottom of the swamps and oceans, and over millions of years started decomposing under layers of sand, clay, and other minerals. The fossils changed into a substance called kerogen. Under heat and pressure, kerogen gradually changes into oil or gas. At the molecular level, oil and gas are hydrocarbons made up of carbon and hydrogen atoms. The constant pressure and movement of the Earth's crust squeezes oil and gas through the pores or spaces within rocks. Some oil reaches the Earth's surface and seeps out naturally into land or water. Often, it is trapped beneath the surface by impermeable layers or rock structures like faults and folds. Within the crust, oil or gas deposits build up and form reservoirs. Reservoirs are like vast sponges filled with oil and gas. Different types of fossil fuels form depending on the combination of organic matter, temperature, time, and pressure conditions while decomposing. There are three major types of fossil fuels: coal, oil, and natural gas. Coal was formed from ferns, plants, and trees which hardened due to pressure and heat. Oil was formed from small organisms like zooplankton and algae, where pressure caused the more complex organic matter to decompose. Natural gas was formed by the same process as oil, only it was exposed to more heat and pressure, causing it to further decompose and turn into a gaseous form. Fossil fuels are sought after energy sources because they have a high energy density. They are the world's dominant energy source, and they also have a variety of applications from electricity production to transport fuels. They can also be used to make a variety of common products from plastics to cosmetics to even some medicines. These resources have powered industrialization over history and continue to do so today. Fossil fuels can be abundant and cheap, or in some cases, a scarce and expensive form of energy depending on geographic location. For this reason, geopolitical issues arise due to scarcity caused by the natural geographic allocation of these highly valuable resources. Fossil fuels are considered non-renewable resources because they take millions of years to form, which means that once they are used, the resources will not be replenished in a human lifetime. The gradual depletion of the most accessible fossil fuel reserves have forced companies to develop technologies for extracting more challenging or unconventional reserves. In many cases, this means additional safety and environmental concerns as well as higher costs.
Why are fossil fuels considered a contemporary issue? Fossil fuels are considered to be a contemporary issue because burning them is currently affecting people or places worldwide, and that still remains unresolved. What is the link between fossil fuels and climate change? Releasing the greenhouse gases carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere intensifies the greenhouse effect, increasing the Earth's average air temperatures. These greenhouse gases can remain in the atmosphere for decades to hundreds of years. Already, the average global temperature has increased by 1 degree Celsius. Warming above 1.5 degrees Celsius risks further sea level rise, extreme weather, biodiversity loss and species extinction, as well as food scarcity, worsening health, and poverty for millions of people worldwide.
What needs to be done? Accountability of those involved, and alternative sources of energy. Most of the fossil fuels we use, such as oils, petroleum gases, and coal, are distributed by major fossil fuel companies worldwide. It is true that these companies fuel the world's economy and technology, along with other companies that use other forms of energy. However, fossil fuel companies are the main culprit when it comes to the deterioration of our ozone layer and buildup of greenhouse gases, leading to increased temperatures, melting of the ice caps, and increased weather disasters, and overall, just the worsening of the Earth's climate. Instead of facing the issues and trying to solve the problem, companies have instead resorted to tactics regarding deception about our climate through the media. Of course, this is wrong, as these companies should be pressured to take steps to lessen the carbon emission of their factories using efficient technology, as well as to make their fuel products less harmful to the environment with the help of chemists. These companies should also be held liable by the government and fined for all the disinformation they have spread and pay for all the damages they have done to the environment. This is the list of what these companies could do to be held accountable and help in preserving the Earth's natural climate. Despite their carbon emission being slowed down due to the climate policies, however, we have to realize that it does not rid our societies on the dependence of fossil fuels and merely delays their inevitable depletion, and their continued use still contributes to the disruption of our environment and our climate. So, we have to find ways to no longer depend on fossil fuels. With all the resources the rich companies have, they should be allocating a good portion of them in researching and developing other alternative sources of energy that is abundant and as efficient as fossil fuel. Accountability of the people. This would include politicians and civilians alike. Politicians should actively be involved in lawmaking and policy implementing that is beneficial to our environment and enforce regulations and penalties for violators. For the common people, a simple thing we can do is to minimize the use of fossil fuels and instead harness and utilize other forms of energy like wind, solar, and mechanical energy. There are alternative sources of energy that we could use in place of fossil fuels and reduce carbon emission. Hopefully, in the future, we will be able to fully discard the use of fossil fuels. These energy alternatives are the most popular and include solar energy, wind energy, nuclear energy, geothermal energy, and hydromechanical energy. To make use of solar energy, we have invented solar panels that convert energy of the sun to electricity. Wind energy is harnessed through the use of mechanical turbines that are rotated by the wind to produce electricity. Nuclear energy utilizes fission or the splitting of the atoms of a radioactive element, which in turn produces heat that can be cooled down to produce steam that will go through turbines to produce electricity. Geothermal energy is similar, however, it uses steam that is expelled by the ground and a turbine is installed over it to produce electricity. Hydromechanical energy is using the movement of water into waterfalls to make turbines rotate and produce electricity. Overall, the end point of these alternative sources of energy is electricity. Therefore, scientists and scholars all over the world should research and develop electronic counterparts of technologies that are currently powered by the combustion of fossil fuels. Here are our references for the presentation.